Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Ms. Doherty. Ms. absent. Ms. Faticante.
Here.
Mr. Leahy. Mr. Leary.
Here.
Ms. Martin. Oh, God. Mr. McHugh.
Here.
Mayor Martin.
Here.
4 present, 3 absent.
Okay. I do believe we're expecting 2 members that will be arriving late.
Just announce we have a quorum.
Okay, but 4 is sufficient for a quorum, so we will begin the meeting. First item on the agenda is to announce the winners of the Knowledge Bowl, and for that, I'd like to recognize Patty Gajeka, Special Projects Manager and also interim principal at the Riley School. Is Patty here yet? It's, okay.
Good evening. As part of the Spotlight on Excellence for this year's Knowledge Bowl, I would like to give a brief summary of the competition for 2007. Next, we will have a short video clip of highlights, and then I would like to invite Principal Liam Skinner up to introduce our Knowledge Bowl championship team. The Knowledge Bowl was established in 1988 for the purpose of engaging students from all 9 middle schools in a challenging academic competition. This year, 79 students were on the official team rosters. Each team worked with 2 coaches on English language arts, mathematics, social studies, science, arts, and current events. The Daly School has the honor of being this year's Knowledge Bowl champion. This year's second place winner was the Sullivan School, and the third place went to the Bartlett Community Partnership School. I would like to extend congratulations to all 9 schools and their teams for their participation and for a job well done. The Lowell School Committee has continued its support by not only allocating the funds necessary, but also by attending and/or participating in the event. Additionally, the Lowell School Administrators Association, the United Teachers of Lowell, the local 888 Chapter 159 made contributions to each participating school's activity fund, as well as the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, who made a donation to the awards. The Knowledge Bowl is truly a cooperative effort that involves numerous dedicated individuals, and I want to express my thanks to all who helped to make this year's competition a success. And it really turned out to be a very exciting competition. All 7 nights were very, very competitive and very exciting. At this time, I'd like to turn to Eric Stevenson. The Lowell High Communications Academy has produced a wonderful video of highlights, and I'd like to share that with you right now.
Thank you.
Another exciting tournament of the Catherine P. Stocklosa Knowledge Bowl concluded this year with the final competition on March 22nd at the Butler Middle School. 9 teams competed, 79 students in all, with the top 3 teams moving on to the finals, going head-to-head for the glory, the trophy, and the bragging rights. Following the preliminary round, the Butler took the lead out of the gates with 320 points, but not far behind were the Daly, Stocklosa, Wang, and Pine Arts, with only a 10-point margin separating the 4 teams. The first round of the semifinal matches pitted the Butler, Wang, and Sullivan teams against one another. The Butler team was the favorite to win, with the Wang School poised as the imposing threat.
Complete this line by Mark Twain. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the
Sullivan.
Fighting the dog.
That is correct. Ptah, Horus, Hathor, and Osiris were deities of what ancient civilization?
Butler.
Egyptian.
That is correct. During sleep, the act of breathing through the open mouth in such a way as to cause a vibration of the uvula and soft palate is called?
Wang.
Snoring.
That is correct. Friction in a machine converts mechanical energy into what other kind of energy?
Heat energy.
Correct. What positively charged elementary particle is 1,836 times heavier than an electron?
Wang.
Proton.
That is correct. Coonskin caps were popularized in the 1950s by Fess Parker's TV portrayal of what colorful frontiersman?
Sullivan.
Davy Crockett.
Correct.
In a surprising upset, the 7th place Sullivan team beat out the 2 academic powerhouses by scoring 300 points and securing their place at the finals. Match 2 of the semifinals saw teams from the Daly, Pine Arts, and Rogers schools in action.
What word should have been used in this blooper from a paper on British monarchs? Queen Victoria sat on a thorn for 63 years.
Rogers.
Throne.
Throne is correct. The Pecos is a tributary of what larger river?
Daly.
The Rio Grande.
Rio Grande is correct. Although Iran is sitting on a small ocean of petroleum, it must import most of its gasoline because it does not have enough of what kind of facilities to handle its own needs?
Finance.
Refineries.
That is correct. What is the popular free video sharing website recently purchased by Google that lets users upload, view, and share video clips from around the world? And please show us your answers. Yes, the answer is YouTube. To what family of instruments does the marimba belong?
Daly.
Percussion.
That is correct. What carved the hanging valleys in Yosemite National Park?
Rogers.
Glaciers.
That is correct. What venomous invertebrates related to spiders and ticks possess an extended body and a segmented erectile tail ending with a telson?
Daly.
Scorpion.
That is correct.
The Daly team dominated this matchup, coming out on top with 340 points and clinching their table at the finals. The remaining teams of the Bartlett, Robinson, and Stocklosa schools faced off in match 3 of the semifinals.
Sometimes a space shuttle must land somewhere other than Kennedy Space Center. For its trip back to Florida, it is bolted to the top of what model of aircraft?
Bartlett.
Boeing 747.
That is correct. Matter is fluid in what 2 states?
Robinson.
Water and gas.
That is correct. He flexed America's muscles for all nations to see by parading the U.S. Navy fleet around the world in 1908.
Stocklosa.
Theodore Roosevelt.
That is correct. What U.S. congressman has recently been named Chancellor of the University of Massachusetts Lowell? Teams, please show us your answers at this time. The answer is Marty Meehan. Incandescent light bulbs are inefficient, emitting only about 10% of their energy as light and the remainder as?
Robinson.
Heat.
That is correct. Most meteorites are believed to originate in the asteroid belt between what 2 planets?
Bartlett.
Mars and Jupiter.
That is correct. A good insulator is obviously a poor.
Stocklosa.
Conductor.
That is correct.
This was a very close matchup, with the winning points coming down to the very last question, which put the Bartlett team on top, ready for their chance at the finals. It all comes down to this: the Sullivan, the Daly, and the Bartlett facing off for the chance at winning the ultimate prize.
Despite his spirited campaign, the Republican National Convention nominated Richard Nixon on the first ballot. Even so, he had his foot in the door, making the country realize that a Hollywood actor could be in the running.
Bartlett.
Ronald Reagan.
That is correct. The last word in the title of what John Philip Sousa march is forever?
Sullivan.
Stars and Stripes.
Correct. What nickname was given to the first U.S. volunteer cavalry, the most famous of all the units that fought in Cuba during the Spanish-American War?
Daly.
Rough Riders.
Correct. Name the present United States Attorney General who is under scrutiny for his firing of 8 U.S. attorneys. And could we see your answers, teams? The answer is Alberto Gonzalez, the Sullivan and Daly schools answering that correctly. Mushrooms produce what simple cells that grow into new mushrooms?
Sullivan.
Spores.
That is correct. Gandalf, in The Lord of the Rings, plays a role most similar to what character in the legend of King Arthur?
Bartlett.
Merlin.
That is correct. Evaporation, condensation, transport, precipitation, groundwater, transpiration, and runoff are all aspects of what ongoing cycle?
Bartlett.
The water cycle.
Correct. That is the end of the round.
In the end, the Daly School came out on top to become the winners of the 2007 Knowledge Bowl Tournament.
I would ask Mr. Skinner, the principal of the Daly School, to come up and introduce the members of his team.
To the committee how proud I am of our students. You're a credit to your school and to your families. And I hope they don't mind if I share some of their secrets of their success. These students have read a lot of books. They have participated in numerous classroom discussions. They have solved very many math problems, and they've taken an active interest in their own learning. And because this is the way these students have become so smart, and those ways are accessible to all of our students, you are quite literally model students. We're very proud of you. And one of the other secrets to their success is they're been very skillfully coached. And so I'm actually going to have the coach, if you don't mind, introduce the team. We have two coaches, one of whom is not able to be with us tonight, Mrs. Ellen Naser. The other is Mrs. Marcia Downey.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who was involved in sponsoring and volunteered their time. It was a wonderful event. It was very competitive, and everybody worked really hard. We worked harder, I guess, so therefore we're here tonight. I'd like to introduce our team. Mrs. Naser, Ellen Naser, could not be here tonight. Why don't you stand up, please, when I say your name? This is Brianna Carolyn. She's an 8th grader. She'll be going to the Latin Lyceum. Tess Sigliano is an 8th grader. Albert Chapp is our 7th grader, our only 7th grader on the team. Tom Wiesa is next, 8th grade. Perry Downs is next, and he's an 8th grader. And Abimael Reyes, 8th grader, and Corey McHugh, 8th grade, and going to the Latin Lyceum as well. So I'd like to thank everybody. And we're really proud of you. Brianna's going to say a few words about her experience.
My name is Brianna Carolyn, and I am an 8th grade student at the Daly School. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for inviting us here tonight. On behalf of the Daly School 2007 Knowledge Bowl team, I would like to thank Mayor Martin, Superintendent Bear, and her administration, and the members of the school committee for supporting this competition. Our success would not have been possible had it not been for the tireless efforts of our teachers, Miss Marcia Downey and Miss Ellen Naser. Countless hours were spent studying packet upon packet upon packet of facts, along with numerous attempts to master the buzzer. Being on the Knowledge Bowl team was a positive experience for everyone. It allowed us to make new friendships, gain confidence in being in front of the public, as well as deepen our knowledge of academic material. It helped me to improve on my weaknesses and better understand my academic strengths. Miss Downey and Miss Naser were always there to encourage and support us, allowing us to shine. And nobody will forget the popcorn and hot chocolate that gave us the extra boost after a long day at school. I have been on many sports teams, which include swimming, basketball, and volleyball. However, the Knowledge Bowl team gave me an opportunity to excel academically. It was as mentally demanding as sports are physically. By being involved in so many activities, I have made many friends, learned how to manage my time, and most importantly, been given the chance to pursue my many interests. As I head off to the Lyceum at the high school, this experience will not be forgotten. I have enjoyed the time I spent with my peers, and I will always have fond memories of Miss Nazer and most especially Miss Downey, who was much more than just my science teacher. I will miss the occasional lunches that we shared and seeing her each day in class. I have truly enjoyed my 4 years at the Daily School. Thank you again for your continued support in such a wonderful event.
Thank you all very much, and congratulations. Madam Superintendent, you want to... Okay. Just a warning to the Daily School. It's been a few years in a row now, so people are going to be gunning for you next year. We also have the sports season recognitions, and I'd like to introduce Athletic Director at Lowell High School, Brian Martin.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the school committee, Madam Superintendent, Deputy Superintendents. We have a number of coaches with their student athletes present that had terrific winter seasons. Some of the coaches have to work, and I'll introduce those student athletes. And then we have the wrestling team. There's so many of them, we have them outside because they will be receiving a jacket. And Coach O'Keefe will bring those young men in soon. The first student athlete, Jen McCullough, I don't believe is here, and her coaches are both working. Allison Carroll works for the Department of Recreation, works the second shift, and Beth McLaughlin is actually working as well. But Jen McCullough was a 4-year girls gymnastics participant, captain, terrific young lady, was a Lowell Sun All-Star, and someone that really stuck with the program when it was very difficult because they've had 4 different coaches for 4 years, so she deserves a lot of credit. My next individual is here, and his name is Zach Aguilar. Zach, can you come forward? Zach Aguilar is a sophomore. He's a 2-time Boston Globe All-Scholastic, 2-time Boston Herald All-Scholastic, Lowell Sun All-Star, Lowell Sun Gymnast of the Year. He's an outstanding student athlete at Lowell High School. He recently qualified for the Junior Olympics and is probably the best gymnast that's ever attended Lowell High School. We're very proud of him. He's got a sister coming next year, is that correct? You can talk to her, I can't. But we're very proud of Zach. His parents are here, and Zach could participate in any gymnastics club in America. But he has his own club, but also participates at Lowell High School because of the friends that he's developed over the course of the 2 seasons. Is that right, Zach? And he really enjoys the relationship with these young men that work hard. So congratulations, Zach, for all your awards. The next student athlete, Coach Dunner, who's hockey, this is a young man's hockey player, Joe Partika. Joe, want to step forward? Joe's a senior, 4-year member of the Lowell High School hockey program. He was the recipient of the Boston Bruins Sportsmanship Award for the Merrimack Valley Duke County League, which is a very prestigious award in a very tough sport. To be a sportsman in hockey says a lot about this young man, and he deserves a lot of credit for being through 4 years of a program where they've had a lot of success, and then this year was a rebuilding year. He's also going to the University of Massachusetts at Amherst, which is near and dear to me, so he deserves an awful lot of credit, and we want to congratulate him on behalf of the high school and the committee. Joey, good job. Next up is girls indoor track, and Coach Pat Sweat is here. Coach?
I'm here to talk briefly about Kate Lanou. She is here. Can you come up? Caitlin New is a shot putter in the indoor track season. This year she went undefeated in the Merrimack Valley in all competition, and she won the Merrimack Valley League meet, which makes her a all-conference selection. She missed the school record this year by 1 3/4 inches. She came very close, so she's the second best thrower in the school's history, in its 37-year history. She won the state pentathlon shot put, and she came in third in the state divisional meet at the end of the season. She's an amazing athlete. She's been throwing for the school indoor and outdoor for 4 years now, so this is her 8th track and field season. She has the outdoor discus record, and next year she's looking to continue her career either at Springfield College or Salem State. It's Caitlin.
Is Amanda here, Coach Sweat? Amanda Leahy should make it. Amanda Leahy, obviously, we had her here in the fall. She also broke the mile record in the indoors. Is that correct, Coach? Broke the mile record, and she's going to Boston College. Next up, Coach Phil Meyer. Coach, indoor track.
I'd like to thank the administration for the wonderful support that we've received for the track program over the years. Our program is a participatory program. We focus on that. We try to encourage students to practice these skills that they can take for the rest of their lives. And occasionally we get an individual who does very well. 2 years ago I was here with the number 2 athlete in a half mile in the nation who's actually doing quite well at UConn. But today I have some athletes here with me that I'd like to introduce to you. Our 4x200 relay team did exceptionally well. We had 3 sophomores and 1 senior. This team is actually finished sixth in the New England Championship, and I'd like to introduce those individuals. Senior Joseph Zurakong. And our 3 sophomores, Felix Ma. Felix Mensa, Melvin Ma, and Anthony Gentles. On my left, the MVP of the program who scored the most points. He is the best hurler in the league. He is an outstanding person to work with. Shows a lot of promise. Will continue the sport in college. Right now he's undecided. Perhaps UMass Lowell is one of his leading choices. And this is Ryan Brusso, senior Ryan Brusso. Again, thank you very much for your continued support.
Next up, Coach Boyle, boys basketball.
On the way in, I bumped into Coach O'Keefe, and he said, "Look at this room," and I'm there. Actually, it's the first time I've been in here, and he goes, "Crank up the heat," and we put up some pull-up bars, and I could make this a great wrestling room.
We do enough wrestling in here as it is. So,
He's actually going to talk to you after, Mayor, about that. I'd like to thank my coaches this year, Phil Connors, Todd Boyle, Jamie McCabe, and Mike McCabe. Very dedicated guys, did a great job with the kids, and just work year-round with them. So I'd like to thank them. We had a lot of help from the parents, and that they support us throughout the year, so that there's a bunch of them. I'd just like to thank them as well. Real quickly, I just want to read off the names of our kids on our team. It's Joseph Harris, Matt Welch, Fernando Perez, Jamie Shannon, David Brown, Nick Schermerhorn, Nate Simpson, Sano Lapolu, Osvaldo Gonzalez, Jethro Colley, and Stephen Wahome. Before I talk about the 3 kids here tonight, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the kids what they've done in the program. Academically, I think our kids have done a great job. They're excellent in the classroom. Many of them are on the honor roll, and most of them are juniors and sophomores, so they're great role models for the kids. They've done clinics this year for the junior highs, the Boys and Girls Club. They've given back to the community. They've been great role models, and I really couldn't ask for better kids. They've done a great job, not on the court, not just on the court, but everywhere else. The three kids we have here tonight, the first one is Jamie Shannon. Jamie's a junior. He's a 3-year starter for me. He started his freshman year. He's played in every game since I've had him. He's an all-conference selection. He was a Lowell Sun All-Star, and he's an honor roll student. Jamie Shannon. And he has one more year. Fernando Perez. Come on up, Fernando. Fernando's an all-conference player. He's a Lowell Sun All-Star, and he's also an honor roll student. He's just a junior. Last player is Maddie Welch. Maddie, come on up. It's nice to be 6'6". Maddie was the most valuable player of the year in our conference. It's one of the best leagues in the state. It's a great accomplishment. He was the Boston Herald and Globe All-Scholastic, Lowell Sun Player of the Year. He scored 1,000 points this year for his career, and next year he has a shot at breaking the all-time leading scorer at Lowell High. He was our team MVP. He's an honor roll student. I got a call last night at my house, actually 3 calls yesterday. University of Maryland, the defensive back coach called on him. Syracuse, the offensive coordinator called, and University of Richmond. And he's probably going to end up being one of the most heavily recruited kids, if not the most heavily recruited kid in our school's history. If he keeps working, I can only see great things for him. He's done a great job so far, so just keep it up, Matty. I'd just like to thank the school committee tonight for having us here and congratulate all the athletes on a great year. And hopefully we'll be back next year to hang a state title. Thank you.
I also want to mention that Coach Boyer was Coach of the Year for the MVC. Congratulations, Coach. Next up, Coach Mike Crowley, girls basketball.
Just like to thank the school committee for having us down here tonight, along with Dr. Bear, the superintendent, Mayor Mr. Martin, athletic director Mr. Martin, and the headmaster Mr. Samaras. Our MVP of the team was Ashley Rivera this year. Not only was she the MVP of the team, but for the first time ever, we had the MVP of the league, so congratulations to Ashley for that. She was also Sun All-Star, All-Conference, All-Scholastic in the Globe and the Herald, and there were only 2 underclassmen All-Scholastic for the Globe, and she was one of the 2, so that was quite an achievement for her. Also, her grades are really improving, and she just missed the honor roll, so I'm really proud of her in the classroom as well. She's getting there. She'll be on. The next 2 kind of go hand in hand. They've been 2-year captains for me. They made it to the Songus Arena the last couple years, and they've been a big part of our program. They're both on the National Honor Society, so again, you're talking about 3 students here in the classroom that are getting the job done in the classroom, they're getting the job done athletically, and they're just great kids. And as far as a coach goes, what else can you ask for, really? Those are the 3 most important things. And Kelly was the MVP of the Christmas tournament. She was all-conference, and she also was the Sun All-Star, and she just worked hard for 4 years for me, and I appreciate her efforts. Good job, Kelly.
And Christine was also Sun All-Star, All-Conference, and she was also selected by the Board 95 officials, referees in the area for the Sportsmanship Award, which is quite an honor. They only give out one in the area, and she deserved it. So congratulations, Christine. And Coach Boyle mentioned the team. I don't have the list of the players, but again, we made it to the Division I North Finals for the second year in a row, and we just came up a little short. And with Ashley coming back, being the underclassman, hopefully we get that state title that Coach O'Keefe's had. I really hope we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that Mike Crowley was the Coach of the Year for the Lowell Sun and MVC. Congratulations, Coach. Before I ask the wrestling group to come in, because they'll take up a little more time, and then they'll all have their jackets and disappear. I want to thank the mayor, school committee, superintendent, and headmaster, and the faculty and staff, our custodians at the high school, who all really, they play a role in what we do every day. When we have an event at the high school, we're a Division I high school. It's not just put a net up at Clementi Park and expect to have an event. Everyone at the high school does a heck of a job, and we really appreciate it. The athletes have custodians wash the floor for them before the game, wash a mat. Everybody pulls for us, so we really appreciate that. Thank you. And I'd now like to introduce our Massachusetts State Champions, New England Champions 2007, the Lowell High School Wrestling Team. Coach O'Keefe.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Martin, for having us. Special thanks to Dr. Bear for her continued support of athletics, especially for us teacher coaches. Without the support, we really couldn't do it. Her administration staff, and I got to give a thanks to Mrs. Murphy, because her son wrestled for us, and she seems to be always in our presence at our meets, and we really appreciate that. Thank you. Next, school committee. Appreciate your support. I have to give a special thanks again to Jim Larry and Kevin McHugh. They were in attendance at a number of our matches, and the kids appreciate that, and we appreciate that. Another thanks goes to the Lowell Police Department. After we won the state tournament, the bus ride home, we were very fortunate. We had a police escort into the city. Probably was the highlight for the kids, and it was a pretty neat experience. We thank the Lowell Police Department for that. And I definitely need to give a special thanks to Mr. Samaras and Mr. Martin for their support. They work very well together. They support not only me as a coach, but all of our coaches. And in order to have success, it takes everybody to contribute. And I really think we have that here in Lowell. So we just thank them for their support. These T-shirts here were donated. We're very fortunate in Lowell Wrestling. Michael Kunzler of All Sports Promotion and David Daly of Prize Start Ambulance donated these T-shirts among other T-shirts, and we appreciate them for that. And moving on here, this team this year, what they accomplished is truly a dream come true. To finish the year by winning the New England tournament, it's our 5th one in the history of our program. Very hard to come by. Nobody ever thought it would be possible for a Massachusetts team to ever win again. And we were very blessed that we were the team to do it. And it was our 5th one and first one in 20 years. 15th state title this year. I think the kids were a little more proud of the New England title, but any title you win, it's such an accomplishment. It's a tribute to our kids. Their work ethic is, I believe, second to none. I don't think you'll find a harder working group of kids in the sport of wrestling. It's truly phenomenal what they really put up with from us, and we demand a lot, and they really respond. And I'm very proud of this team to go 25-2, and to complete a season on the way we finished up, winning a state New England title. From our parents, we have a tremendous support group in our parents. We run a Lowell holiday tournament that hosts 60-something teams. Our parents, and Mrs. Murphy can attest to this, our parents are truly, truly special people for how they volunteer 12, 15 hours a day at some of our events, and I got to thank our parents. Some of the individual accomplishments, there are a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. We have at 103 pounds, probably what I'm more proud of right now is Brandon Gauthier just became an All-American last weekend, which is an incredible accomplishment. Brandon Gauthier finished third. He was third in New England for us to help clinch the team title, second at the All-States, and third in the divisional states at 112 pounds. And Brandon was also a Lowell Sun All-Star. At 112 pounds, we just had Mr. Undefeated. He, nobody can go with him. He's truly that special. He won everything. States, New England's, All-States. He, outstanding wrestler at the All-State tournament, as well as Globe All-Scholastic, Herald All-Scholastic, and also the Lowell Sun Wrestler of the Year, Sean Boyle. At 119 pounds, we had two MVC All-Stars. Christian McCarthy and Ryan Ahern split time. Ryan was in at the end due to an injury, which helped another tough performance to help clinch the state dual meet title. And they'll both be back, which we're very happy with the way they wrestled this year. Victor De Jesus is a sophomore. He finished fifth in the All-State tournament, fifth in the Division I state tournament, contributed at the New Englands. He was a Lowell Sun All-Star, and he'll be back for 2 more years. Victor De Jesus. At 130 pounds, Matt Gauthier. He was a senior captain, 2-time New England place winner, runner-up, states, all states, but just a tough kid, hard-nosed, and hopefully he'll be continuing at Norwich University. Matt Gauthier. At 135, Evan Connors, another Lowell Sun All-Star, third in the sectionals, which pretty good story. Third in the sectionals, he ended up finishing third in New England. So he got better, which is what we're supposed to do. And fortunate he'll be back next year also. Senior captain Kevin Dillon was fifth in the state tournament and sectional champion. Suffered an injury, but was able. Luckily, we kept having him in the dual meets, which contributed again to us winning the dual meet state title. 145 was Nick Bedard. He's a sophomore. Finished second in the sectionals. Again, we have 2 more years of him, and he had the clinching, the turning point in the state dual meet tournament. He really won it for us. Was Nick Bedard. £152. We had a senior captain go down with a knee injury, and Chris Smart. We thought he would have had a great end of the year. Results from him. Unfortunately, he suffered an injury, but he did a great job as a captain, helping the younger guys, Paul Feely and James Downing, replace him. Cullum Sullivan, 160 pounds, was a sectional champion for us. He was also an MVC All-Star. Cullum Sullivan. This next student athlete, Phil Gauthier, I'm sure many of you read the article in the paper. It's truly a credit to what he was able to accomplish. He has overcome a lot. He ended up having an unbelievable year, senior captain. He finished first in the sectionals, divisionals, and all states, which we have kids that train for 6-7 years and they don't get up there. And Phil Gauthier, just an amazing story and a great kid. He was also a Boston Herald, Boston Globe, and Lowell Sun All-Star. 189, David Hubert, sophomore, fourth in the sectional, also an MVC All-Star. David Hubert. Michael Manning. He's Nick was a turning point, but he got the job done when we needed him at most. Mr. Martin had to walk out of the gym when he was about to compete. I had to bury my head because it was on him, and we didn't know what to expect, and he stepped up like never before, and fifth in the states, sixth in the All-States, and contributed at New England's. Michael Manning. And, heavyweight, Henry Cancel. He second-year wrestler, hadn't wrestled in a couple of years, just came back to the high school and did a tremendous job for us, finished sixth in the sectional and an MVC All-Star, Henry Cancel. And moving on, my coaching staff is George Bossy, Dave McNeil, Patrick Smulligan, Joey Cooper, and Officer Phil Conroy, and they do a tremendous job for us day in and day out with our kids, as well as my father, who has a website that takes photos of the kids, and the kids really enjoy it, and we just have tremendous support, and we just thank everybody.
I just spoke with the mayor, and it might make sense because we've got 40 jackets to give out to go to the mayor's reception room, and we'll just hand them out there so that the committee can move on with their business. But in closing, I wanted to also congratulate Coach O'Keefe. He was the Division I Coach of the Year in Massachusetts and also honored by the Globe. And they've done a great job. All the teams this winter were terrific, and they're going to be better next year. So hopefully we'll be back with a couple of state champions and more good news. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say thank you to Athletic Director Martin, Headmaster Samaras, all the coaches that are here and the ones that couldn't make it tonight, as well as all the student athletes. Congratulations on a job well done, and keep up the good work. Okay.
That little girl, isn't that little girl cute? I'm going to take her home. Is she cute?
Okay, moving on, we have a third item to consider under this portion of the agenda. It's actually scheduled under superintendent's reports, but we do have some of the teens from the United Teen Equality Center here, as well as Mr. Croto, and there's been a request to take that item now as well. Motion to suspend the rules, to do that by Mr. Leary, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? We'll consider the UTEC matter. That's also something that's a very positive development here in the city. I'd like to acknowledge the superintendent to introduce the item.
Yes, thank you. The partnership between the Lowell Public Schools and the United Teen Equality Center, UTEC, is deepening, with particular emphasis this year on the planning for the alternative diploma program for young people who have dropped out of the high school. That's a collaboration between the high school, adult education, and UTEC. So the executive director of UTEC, Greg Cruteau, and several members are here to a quick update on that news and on some of the other news that is important for UTEC.
Is this on the agenda? Where?
It's in the first superintendent.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sorry, we had a crowded quarters here, so we're operating in shifts this evening.
Hello. Hi, my name is Eddie Mercado, and I'm here from UTEC, and also a member of the leadership team. and I'm here to thank you guys, the school committee, for supporting UTEC and also giving teams a second chance to get back at their feet and giving giving those teams that like couldn't finish anything back like in high school. And yeah. And I hope the school committee would still keep hope the school committee will keep supporting UTEC and our school programming, you know. And I would personally would invite you guys to a fundraiser on April 12th that we're having, and show you guys the hard work that we put through UTEC. And yeah, hope y'all can make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. My name is Greg Croteau. I'm the Executive Director of UTEC, and I want to thank Mayor Martin, Dr. Baer, all the school committee, Assistant Superintendent Franco. It's our pleasure to be here tonight, and I have the honor of working with all of our young people and our staff here at UTEC. If you didn't know, UTEC, we were established in 1999, and we're established at a point when there was a lot of gang violence going on at the time, and there was a need, there was a movement for young people to say we want our own safe space, and to be free from any of the gang violence surrounding the streets. And ever since that time, side by side, that mission has also been our mission, education. And we see education, the education for us is the essence of UTEC, and for us it's everything from young people learning how to do video production, young people learning how to take computers apart in our computer repair program. Fortunately, we have a lot of broken computers in our UTEC, so we seem to have our own business too often. Or it's young people learning how to facilitate a meeting, how to go in front of other young people and organize around transportation issues, or how to organize around voter organizing strategies. For us, the mission of UTEC is really how to broaden education and how to broaden the concept of learning. And for us today, we came, the school committee, because we're at an interesting point at UTEC. We're about to launch off this new program, and particularly wanted to mention the Lowell Alternative Diploma Program. And as many of the school committee know, this is a program that we've been planning. We've had the fortunate of working with a planning board that represented the Lowell Adult Diploma, the Lowell Alternative Education Program, the Lowell High School, and really a really comprehensive planning board. So we've had a pleasure of working with that. And in the end, we do know that this particular program will absolutely be a model throughout the state, a model of how to combine all these three forces. And it'll show how young people who've previously dropped out of high school for a variety of different reasons will now have the opportunity to go back and get their own Lowell High School diploma. So really tonight we wanted to come in and we wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the support, but also thank you for challenging us on the ideas. Thank you for the suggestions, for all for the concerns you raised, because absolutely today I think for the entire program, we're better because of it. And I think that's a key thing we wanted to say thank you. Because right now we're getting ready to launch that program, and we're really pleased to come here to say tonight, and thank you for all the support. So with that, we're also launching a new era. Within days, within hours, we'll be moving into our new building. And if you didn't know, we have a new building on 34 Hurd Street, and that is the former St. Paul's Methodist Church. And there's a lot of work still to be done. We just completed phase 1, which is basically getting us heat, electricity. We just now have light, which is excellent. And now we're going to have a fabulous temporary space, and that'll be phase 1, and then phase 2 will be the addition, and that'll be an addition that will primarily house the school. And in the end, we know we're going to have a facility that's going to allow this program to expand and really fulfill the dreams and wishes of many young people. So really, tonight, we wanted to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us the opportunity to partner with the schools. We're looking forward to what the future offers, and we now have a new building that I think is going to allow us to expand all of our educational program. And we do indeed have an event next week, Thursday night, April 12th, 5:30 to 8:30, and we want to make sure the school committee knows, and we absolutely welcome you to attend that. And if you can't make it, please feel free to call us, and we will be happy to set up a time for you to come by, because we're really just looking forward to expanding it in the new facility as well. So on behalf of all of us, I want to thank all the young people who came here, all of our staff who worked so hard, but we really wanted to thank the school committee for challenging us and for providing us the opportunity to partner. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, and thanks for your patience this evening. Okay, the next item is approval of the minutes of the March 21st meeting. Motion to approve by Ms. Faticante, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Under permission to enter, Madam Superintendent?
Yes, two contracts involving grant funds. The first to West Ed for $4,760 to amend the existing contract to provide for the addition of 60 new teachers participating in the Lowell Teacher Academy. This is the third-party evaluation of the Lowell Teacher Academy, expanding it to include the entire program. Funding provided by the Strategic Grant Partners. And then Donna Selger, $3,630 to amend the existing contract to provide 2 new backup FM systems, funding provided by the Special Education 240 grant. And this is a follow-up to earlier discussions about assistive devices for youngsters who are deaf or hard of hearing.
Any questions? Motion approved by Ms. Faticante, second by Mr. McHugh. Roll call.
Ms. Doherty. Ms. Faticante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy. Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
5 yeas, 2 absent, approved.
Next item is memorials. We have 2 memorials this week offered by the committee as a whole. The first for Matthew Dubuque, a 7-year-old student of the St. Louis School who fought a very courageous battle with cancer and who died last week, and also for John Graham, who is the cousin of a school committee member, Jackie Doherty. If we could please rise in a moment of silence and darken chambers in their memory. May they rest in peace. Next item are the motions. The first motion is by Mr. McHugh. Request the administration provide a report on the criteria used to select and award scholarships to Lowell High School students, as well as the individuals who serve on the selection committee. Second by Ms. Faticante. Mr. McHugh.
Thank you. I think this motion's pretty clear. I think I'm just looking for some information. I know we're getting to that time of year where we're going to be the scholarship nights coming up, and they'll be awarding all kinds of scholarships. And I'm being here, I was just kind of curious on how that all process took place, as far as how the children are selected, what is the criteria they're using to award. I know some of them might have their own criteria based upon the actual scholarship that was set up by some group or individuals, but I really was just looking at the global big picture on how that's done and how we select students. Is it based on academics, or is it based upon an essay, or those type of, if I could get like a list of those, that'd be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion by Mr. McHugh. Request a detailed report on the number of suspensions and arrests at Lowell High School, including the freshman academy for this school year compared to the 2005-2006 school year. Report should include what disciplinary steps have been taken and the current status of these students who have been suspended and arrested for the 2006-2007 school year. Second by Ms. Faticante. Mr. McHugh.
Thank you. On this motion, I guess I'm really looking for, and I noticed we've been getting a lot of communication, which I think is maybe in the past we hadn't received regarding the day-to-day issues going on at the school. And I've always been curious of, you see some action's been taken, but what happens afterwards? And I guess I'm just very curious if a child has been removed from the school, what process are they going through to be allowed back in and to ensure that they're not a threat to anyone else in the school, as well as after a student's been suspended as well, what is the process of getting them back in? It seems like we sometimes get notice of a child being suspended, but that seems to be the end of the communication that we're getting back. So I'm just curious to see how we're looking on that, especially with the
at Freshman Academy. There's tend to be, this year I noticed earlier on, a lot of incidents over at that building. And we want to ensure that we're providing a safe environment for our students over there. And what is the follow-up, I guess, I'm really looking for at this point, so we can just at least have a dialogue to ensure that, you know, those children have been dealt with properly and there is a process to get back into the school and they are meeting all those needs to get back in. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion by Mr. McHugh. Request the high school administration prepare a detailed report on the approval process of the Latin Lyceum. This report should include how the children are selected and notified, as well as how the children who are not selected are notified, and what steps are taken to recruit them to Lowell High School. Second by Ms. Martin. Mr. McHugh.
Thank you. This one, I received a number of actually 2 phone calls this year from people I personally know who shared some confusion, displeasure with the process of getting into the Latin Lyceum. There seems to be this, you know, I guess I would phrase it as there's not clear information. You know, one of the issues that one of the parents talked to me is, you know, they got I guess I call it the thanks but no thanks letter to say that they didn't score well enough. But there is no details on what they need to do as far as follow-up. And I know we can't, not every child either passes the exam. There seems to be some questions over what is the passing score. No one seems to know what that is. I did ask for some information through the high school. I haven't received it yet, so I thought I'd file a motion to formally ask for it to kind of get a real detailed report. One of the parents actually gave me a copy of I call it the form letter that they received. And I read it myself, and I too would have questions about, well, how did my child receive their score? What was their score? What do they need improvement on? And I have to tell you, sitting here tonight, the students that are trying to get into the Latin Lyceum, I consider our top students. And in my opinion, we should be doing a recruiting effort to get them to come to Lowell High. Unfortunately, both parents that have talked to me are not sending their child to Lowell High School, because they said, well, they didn't get into the Lyceum and that they don't know how to get the scores. It just seems to like, that was it, thanks, you didn't make it, see you later, and off you go. There doesn't seem to be, I call it a recruitment process, to say that we have other programs that I think are just as good at the high school, the honors programs and other classes they can take to excel in. And those are the students we definitely want to have in our high school. I hate to see them make choices and go to different schools because they can't seem to get information, or it's unclear, or people are too busy, or they say they don't have the time, or this. So I think what I'm really going to be looking for out of this is that the outcome is that when the child gets a letter saying, I'm sorry you didn't pass the test, the passing score is X, this was your score, and it was made up of the following, you know, various scores. So you can then sit and at least have a discussion of, you know, what does that child, these are the parents that are involved in their child's education, and they want to look what they need to do to improve on that child to make them a better student. So I think that's what all the parents, the 2 that I talked to personally, seem to be concerned about, and it just seems to be no communication from the high school back to the parents. Now, I understand there are a number of students, over 300 students that took the test, and that is some work, but I have to tell you, those are the students that we want at Lowell High School. And I would want to do everything possible to reach out, to have them come in, meet with the staff, take a tour of the facility, show them the other options they have at Lowell High School, and actually recruit them. And maybe that's not the philosophy, but I think it needs to be the philosophy down there. So I think this motion will get a lot of information to start that dialogue, and hopefully as we move forward, we can improve the process of the program and ultimately get the top quality students to continue to come to Lowell High School. Thank you.
Mr. Leary?
Just quickly on it, I want to support this motion from Committeeman McHugh. I think this is almost comes down to a customer service issue. We have customers that are potentially soliciting that want to go to Lowell High School. We have a product, the Latin Lyceum. They take a test and we don't provide them enough information as to why they weren't able to get into this program. we should be not only acknowledging here's where your test score was, but here's our other programs like Committeeman McHugh just articulated. This is something that we really need to rethink as administration at the high school, how we're servicing the students. Our top priority is servicing the students. And this is almost like a no-brainer. This is simple. You give the child their score, the parents understand where they came through the process in terms of how far they were from being accepted into the program. They find the parameters whether or not they can retake it again or not for following their sophomore year. And there's all these other academies that we're currently working very hard on. We want to articulate we have a communications academy, an engineering academy. How many folks from the engineering academy or the math science academy went to what particular college or high school? College or prep schools. We need to really push that we're just as good as the Central Catholics and the other private schools, and certainly a lot better than some of the other public schools. And our programs are second to none. But we need to make sure we're really addressing the students. And that begins from the top down, from the administration, Madam Superintendent, from you, then right to the headmaster, and we need to make sure we're doing this successfully. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Doherty?
All I would like to add is if we could send these reports to the high school subcommittee, to the whole committee as a whole, but also to the high school subcommittee so that we could kind of do an in-depth discussion about that. I don't know.
I would
Mr.
prefer to come
McHugh-
back to this board as a whole first, and if at that time we feel it needs to go to the high school
Okay.
subcommittee, I think then we could make that decision
Okay,
to have a
that's
further
fine.
discussion.
Okay.
Thank you.
All those in, Ms. Martin, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is approved. Next motion by Mr. McHugh. All children who take the Latin Lyceum exam shall receive their individual test score along with their notification letter. Second.
Second.
By Ms. Faticante. Mr. McHugh.
I think, actually, I started with the previous motion just to kind of get the information, but the more I thought about it, I actually said I want to file a motion to change how we're doing business down at the high school. Because when I did follow up with the high school, I received that we don't have the time, we don't have the money. And I hate that. I absolutely despise getting that as an answer. I'm not saying, let's look into it, let's make a way to make it work. I think that's comes back to us here. So when I got that for an answer, I think it just kind of disappointed me. And I think that at this point, I felt that a motion to make that a reality is the ultimate way to go, and it can be done. I believe anything can be done. I understand that the test scores come with a kind of a printout with the child's name and test scores side by side. But I'm sure if you go to the testing company, there may be an additional fee because it's going to cost more paper, that you could put page breaks after each child's name so it could be attached to the letter. Instead of trying to think creatively how we can make this happen, I was disappointed to hear roadblocks of why we can't make it happen. So that's the reason why I filed this motion. I think it makes sense as we move forward. Any parent should be able to receive what are the results of their child's score. So then if they have questions, there should be a way to bring that dialogue back to the high school and through the staff to, again, bring these children back to Lowell High School. It's a flagship school. Every time we go to graduation, it is amazing to hear the schools that these children that leave Lowell High School are going to. Tonight we heard some athletes that have some great opportunities. We have a sophomore that's being recruited to top name schools. This is what we're about. We're about getting all the children of Lowell the best education possible, and hopefully that they can advance their own personal career to a very decent school in the future as far as a college, and have opportunities to enhance their education even further. And I think this is one step, but I think at this point, I think it's needed. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion's approved. Next motion by Mr. Leary. Request the curriculum subcommittee review the current kindergarten through 8th grade attendance policy to ensure it is meeting its own standards and to make recommendations to the school committee if changes are needed. Second by Mr. McHugh. Mr. Leary.
Thank you. I know we've been focusing on the high school and their attendance policies, but as we just heard example tonight, you leave in 8th grade, you're going in the freshman academy. We want to really tighten up our middle school attendance policy, look at how many days you're allowed per quarter, per year, and really getting it more in line with the high school. So young folks that are coming into the high school are being, they're not set up to I think the days are like 15 a semester, maybe more in middle school, and then you drop down to 5. The learning curve there is probably going to be a shock to some folks. I think we need to start earlier to ensure they're prepared as opposed to coming in to the big high school and all the other challenges that you're being faced. Get yourself in line with the attendance policy earlier. And that's just the really the premise of the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion is approved. The next item are subcommittee reports. The first report and approval of the minutes of the March 12, 2007 Finance Subcommittee meeting. Mr. McHugh.
Thank you. On March 12th, the Finance Subcommittee met to talk about budget priorities. At that meeting, we any members present, along with myself, was John Leahy and Jim Leary, and met with Jay Lang, the Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operations. I did receive some input from some other committee members who are unable to attend, so that we were trying to pull in what will be the some of the budget priorities as we move forward into the budget session this year, so we could gather information prior to and have all the pertinent information as we make those decisions. Some of the priorities listed, not in priority order, but are the summer school program, the role and assignment of library media specialist, instruction technology specialist, and library aides throughout the system, how they're actually working and integrating through the system, the role and assignment of social workers throughout the system, the allocation and assignment of reading teachers. There's a field that some of the members feel that we need more reading teachers out there in the system, so how we could make that work. Expansion of the alternative school program. We've had a lot of reports this year on that program about the number of spaces available and how we could maybe allocate more children that may be needed to attend that type of program. Also, the role of the academic chair for physical education and athletics at Lowell High School. Science programs at the elementary, middle, and school levels. As we move forward into the MCAS, as that's going to change, we're going to start exploring how we can have the proper staffing levels to prep our children for that, those topics as well. And also preschool transportation. That's been talked at every budget session for the last couple of years, and I know those are just some of the highlights that we will be getting information as we get ready for the budget session. So that was a summary of the meeting. We will be getting some further information and continue to meet prior to the budget meetings and gather some more information. We adjourned about at 9:41, and that's a progress report on the meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Leary?
Yes, I want to thank the chairman of the Finance Committee for evidence. We had a really good, solid meeting. We discussed, like he presented, a variety of different topics. I know that there'll be other finance subcommittees coming up. There'll be some joint meetings. I know one with the Lowell High School Subcommittee, talking about a variety of different, really talking about the high school budget and talking about the alternative school and looking at how we're servicing the students that need alternative programs, from the discipline area, from truancy to emotional and economic. This is an area where, there's a committee we're going to really look at where the dollars are being put throughout the high school, and I'm sure in other areas as well. But I think it was a good working subcommittee, and I look forward to working on others in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on this motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I don't have a first.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the subcommittee report.
Yeah.
Motion to accept the report as a report of progress by Mr. McHugh, second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report is accepted. Next item are reports from the extended time subcommittee meetings of March 26th and April 2nd. Ms. Fattacante.
Thank you, Your Honor. Members other than myself who were there were School Committee Woman Jackie Doherty, School Committee members John Leahy, and School Committee member Jim Leary. We have been discussing, Your Honor, the issue of providing some type of summer school. Our first meeting a couple of weeks ago, one of the things that we discussed was that we really did not have any true measure of how successful our summer school programs were, that the measurements used in the past were really not a true barometer of how well students did. So one of the things that the committee grappled with was whether or not we should in fact have summer school at all, whether or not it was in fact it was a program that sufficiently assisted the needs of our students. One of the things that Assistant Superintendent Murphy discussed with us was that we could certainly use new measurement tools to determine the effectiveness of summer school. The other issue was how much money we were in fact spending for summer school. We asked Assistant Superintendent Murphy to go back to the drawing board and come to the table with a new plan to get the sort of, I guess, the biggest bang for the dollar, because our dollars are few and far between. One of the things that we are looking at, Your Honor, is having summer school for pre-K and K. Students who are coming into the program, and summer school obviously for high school students. And the other thing in specific was summer school for students going from the 8th grade to the 9th grade. One of the interesting concepts that Assistant Superintendent Murphy created was the opportunity for students the 8th grade students to actually participate in the summer school program at the high school. It would get them used to that sort of an environment. They will be attending the high school shortly, and I believe all the committee members thought that was actually an excellent idea. Committeewoman Doherty really did stress again the value of giving summer school to students in the 1st and 2nd grade. We all recognize that the sooner we work with youngsters, the better off they are, and the richer their educational experiences through what happens. So we decided on a couple of things. We would in fact have summer school. And I'm going to read to you the motion, Your Honor, and it needs to be voted on by this committee. Motion by Ms. Doherty, seconded by Mr. Leahy, to recommend to the committee as a whole to accept the current proposal for summer school as reported and to explore ways to offer a skill-building summer component for elementary students. One of the other interesting ideas that was brought up was an idea by school committee woman Connie Martin. And one of the ideas that she brought forward and she brought to the table was that there are lots of different summer programs that occur in programs that are not directly related to the school department. The Boys Club, the Girls Club, CTI, maybe UTEC, and that we should think about, as a school community, we should think about partnering with those organizations to enrich the summer school experience that they're able to offer to students. And that's actually something that we're going to look at for the season, for the next season after this. There was discussion on how to assess the student programs, what kinds of assessment tools would be used. We're going to look at some different assessment tools. And an idea that my colleague John Leahy came up with was, Mr. Leahy is a major proponent of people working for free. And I certainly do appreciate that, but I do not think that our staff appreciates that. However, we did take the concept that Mr. Leahy created, and we revised it. And that concept was having an opportunity for people who would like to seek out administrative opportunities to, in fact, work with summer school component this year, and in fact, review and assess that summer school component. Those people would actually be doing some major reporting for us, helping us to actually strengthen the summer school program, and I believe that we concluded that they would be paid for their services. But again, it was an excellent idea that Mr. Leahy brought to the table. The second leg of what we need to have happen is we will be having another meeting, I believe, in about a week, and we will get some information from Assistant Superintendent Murphy about how we can further incorporate summer school for younger students, 1st and 2nd grade, or 2nd and 3rd grade, or some kind of mixed program, so that we enrich the skills of students who are doing poorly, so that when they get to the 4th grade, they have a reading capability, they have a math capability that they're not lacking. So basically, Your Honor, that is where we stand. We need to take a vote. If you look at the 3rd page, currently, the existing cost, including transportation, about $245,000. We also made some changes, Your Honor, in the class size. And what we said was we can increase class size and decrease teaching staff and still offer a very effective program and in fact, save some money. Through you to the superintendent or to Assistant Superintendent Murphy?
Let me
see the
ask
superintendent wanting to say
Assistant Superintendent. No, in case Ms. Murphy wants to add anything to that. No?
So, Your Honor, we do need to take a vote on expending that dollar figure, and then we will come back at the next meeting with possibly another recommendation for expanding the program to possibly include a first and second grade or second and third grade component.
Okay, so motion to adopt the proposal that's reported in the
And
minutes.
it needs to be from Title I money, Your Honor.
Right.
We need to be specific
Okay.
about that.
So, motion to adopt that proposal by Ms. Fattacante, second by Mr. Leary. Ms. Martin?
Could I just ask, and just as we're talking about the ways that we're going to assess the success of this program, I know we had talked about some of the measures and some of the instruments that we were using up till this point, and some of the failings of them, that they really don't necessarily give us an accurate picture of what we're accomplishing. And I think intuitively we all know that this experience is beneficial for students, but the onus really is on us to be able to show in very concrete, specific ways, using, tested and accepted instruments, what the progress is of students as they go through the summer school program. One of the things I'd like to include in this kind of assessment strategy as we put it together and as the subcommittee meets again, it's not only a matter of testing students to see their progression over the course of this fairly short period of time. I mean, we're talking 5 weeks. One of the key things that I think we notice in school districts across the nation notice is students between the end of one school year and the beginning of the next lose so much ground, and that is it's a known phenomena that every school district is up against. I'd like to see if we could put a measure in place, and this I think would be extremely easy, to test students from when they begin summer school to when they come back in September, to at least see if we've been able to mitigate some of those losses. If summer school at the very least was able to take students who are already struggling and make sure that they don't fall any further behind over the course of the summer, it would be of value. And I think we have a built-in control group, so that in our September testing, we just need to be able to compare students who participated and students who didn't. No study is foolproof, but I think that we would be able to get some really solid information about what our students are experiencing and what the value of it is for students who are able to participate in the summer school. So just as this subcommittee continues its meetings, if I could request that along those measures that we investigate. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Leary, do you have anything on this? Ms. Doherty?
Yes, I just wanted to add that I think summer school is very important, and I think my colleagues may remember I was very disappointed last year that we didn't have a program for our elementary students other than those entering kindergarten students. I also think we have to look at how efficient we're using the resources, and I was happy to see that the plan that was brought forward is about half the cost of last year's plan, while still incorporating the same number of students at the middle school level as we had last year. And that was really done by limiting the number of sites and increasing the population of the class size, having less staff for students, because we know many of especially the middle school students, don't come, they don't show up. So I'm going to support the motion tonight, as I did in the subcommittee, but I'd like to just reiterate my concern that when we go forward with this, I think we really need to have that elementary piece in place, something, because those are the children who are most likely to actually attend and will get the benefits from the program before the problems really start to increase. So I just wanted to add that the elementary piece is extremely important to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Leary?
Yeah, quickly, I want to echo what my colleague just stated. We all were upset last year. I think we all wanted to put this in the budget, and we weren't having enough time to do it. I do want to thank Assistant Superintendent Ann Murphy for your hard work. I know I sat in the last subcommittee meeting, the last two, regarding this particular topic, and I know we've gone back to the drawing board, redesigned, reconfigured, shorter amount of staff, less students, targeting specifically the students that would most benefit, that would achieve a cost savings, but more importantly, achieve results. So we're not just throwing a bunch of money at a summer school saying, okay, little Jimmy Leary, you're in the middle school, show up and see how good you are. We're actually going to target people, children who really need these services, and spending the money in a more efficient way. So I applaud the rethinking of it. I applaud the committee for working hard on it. I think this is what we need to do as we go forward in other areas as well. And I will support it too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So the motion on the floor is to approve the proposal as submitted in the minutes of the meeting.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Spadacante.
Yes?
Mr. Leahy. Mr. Larry.
Yes.
Ms. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. McHugh.
Yes.
Mayor Martin.
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Okay, the next subcommittee report is on the Facility Subcommittee. Mr. Leahy is the chair of that committee. Mr. Leary?
Thank you. I'll be filling in for Mr. Leahy as the subcommittee chairman today.
Okay.
The facility subcommittee meeting, it was on April 2nd, Monday at 8:15 p.m. Those in attendance were John Leahy, chairperson, James Leary, that's me, Jackie Doherty, and Jay Lang, assistant superintendent of finance and operations. Chairman Leahy called the meeting to order at 8:09 p.m. We were actually 6 minutes early for our agenda, so we're very efficient. The agenda items were discussed, and I'll break them out. I know various members would probably want to expand upon some of the issues we touched base on. The first one was premised based on a motion by Committeewoman Jackie Doherty, the recycling program in schools. Mr. Lang updated the subcommittee members regarding our current recycling efforts, and we also went over specific schools and the challenges they were facing and the programs that they're currently utilized. I think the emphasis here from Assistant Superintendent Lang was really that when we get these programs up and running, we're actually saving money, which is, again, this is an area that we kind of, a lot of folks, including myself, really don't focus on. I know it's a big hit now with, Save Planet Earth, et cetera, which is obviously a good thing, but it's also a cost savings where we're deriving financial savings when we do recycle. I don't know if this was generated by Committeewoman Doherty. I don't know if you care to expand on it. And it was a committee. The motion was made by Jackie Doherty, second by myself, to accept the report as a report of progress.
Ms. Doherty?
If I could, I would like to add something to that. I was happy to see we've made progress, that I think with the city's new recycling manager on board, there's been some cooperation and collaboration there, that we are doing paper, cardboard, computers, monitors, fluorescent light bulbs. Those are good to see. However, I was disappointed to see, and I see it everywhere I go in the city, that the plastic water bottles, the cans, glasses, they're just getting thrown in the trash. It happens at our meetings here at Central Office. It happens throughout the schools where they have a dance after school and the kids are drinking cans of soda, they just get thrown out. And I really have a concern with this. I think we're not setting a good example for our students who are our future citizens. And I think that it's something we, as not just the school system or the city of Lowell, but as a country, we really need to get behind this whole recycling thing much more than we are. And I would like to see the Lowell schools a model in terms of the efforts we make in this area. That said, I understand what some of the obstacles are in terms of physically, where do the bins get put throughout our schools, how do we get them picked up, how do we get the cans cleaned. And on that note, I'm going to wrap this up really quickly and just say, I happened to be at UMass yesterday, and I ran into Tom Miliano. He's the director of building services there, and we just started this conversation because I said to him, UMass Lowell is supposed to be about green buildings and all this environmentally friendly technology that they're working on, and they don't recycle, because I've been at meetings over there and I've seen the exact same thing that we have going on in our schools. And he said that he's been trying to work on that with our recycling coordinator here in the city, Gunther Wellenstein, and he invited the schools to be part of that discussion, that if we could work collaboratively, we might be able to really not only save some money, as my colleague mentioned, in terms of the amount of trash that we're paying to get put out of the city, but also really work on some efficiency. So if I could, I'd like to ask my colleagues I'd like to make a motion to ask the superintendent to direct somebody in the school department, an appropriate person, to work with these other entities around collaborating on some ideas, and really to just maybe come back with some kind of report for us, some recommendations. This is what we can do, this is what we can't do. Maybe start small with pilot schools that are interested in being models, but just something that's a concrete step forward. I think if we look at why Lowell is such a success, why we've been able to reinvent ourselves, it's because of these kinds of collaborations, people getting together and seeing how we can work together. So I would make that in the form of a motion to my colleagues to ask that we try to
Motion
move
to
forward.
suspend, to bring in a motion?
Motion to suspend, to bring in this motion.
So moved by Ms. Doherty, second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor of the suspension, say aye. Any opposed? The rules are suspended. Motion by Ms. Doherty to direct the superintendent to have somebody be responsible for these coordination efforts in the school department. Second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion's approved.
Thank you.
We also have a motion to accept, I guess, a motion of report of progress as well.
Motion to accept the report of progress, please.
So moved by Ms. Fattacante, second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The report is accepted.
The second item on the agenda was removal of modular classrooms at the Rogers, Sullivan, and Wang middle schools. Mr. Languis had updated the subcommittee regarding the reduction in enrollment, that these modular classrooms at these particular locations were no longer in need. A motion was made by Jim Leary, second by Jackie Doherty, to remove the remaining leased modular classrooms at the Rogers, Sullivans, and Wang middle schools when the current lease expires on June 30th, 2007. Approved 3-0. So that's in the form of a motion.
So moved by Mr. Leary, second by Ms. Doherty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. McHugh.
Unfortunately, I didn't attend the meeting. Do we have the enrollment projections through you, Mr. Mayor, to the superintendent? Just, I'm a little concerned. I don't have that data.
We have them. I'm sorry I didn't bring them to the meeting. We can get them to you. But the enrollment projections at the schools will all permit us to make this change.
So there's absolutely no need for these once we let them go, because I think once we let these go, they're gone forever, correct?
Yes.
Is this the end of a lease that we renewed, or is this a lease that we because I'm just trying to figure out how long these have been in place?
This is at least the second 3-year period, but let me ask Assistant Superintendent Lang to provide some detail.
The current 3-year lease is expiring this June 30th, and I believe it's actually the third lease. So I think we've actually had them for 9 years at these schools. So we would either have to go, if we wanted to keep them, we'd have to go out for bid again to maintain them for another 3 years at those schools, or just terminate the lease at the end.
Okay, there was no buyout provision at all within them?
There is a buyout provision in the attachments. There was a dollar amount. For example, the Rogers School, there are 4 classrooms there, 4 modulars. At any time at the end of the first, second, or third year, we have in the contract a buyout of just under $140,000 to outright purchase those modulars. We had actually taken that into consideration last year at the Washington School. We had 2 modular classrooms over there that housed the pre-K students. So we knew, based on the enrollment of that school, we were going to need to keep them for a number of years, and it was financially in our interest to just go right by them. So we actually did purchase those last year at the Washington. So the only remaining modules that are under lease are these 3 schools here.
Yeah, my only thought was, I'm not sure what the condition is of these modulars, and we've done a thorough space needs. As we know, storage space, there are always those issues, and I just would hate to, if there was a reasonable way of keeping them, even if they were for additional space, workspace, or teacher area for people to work, and I wouldn't want to just go back to the core building and then not have that opportunity again.
Madam Superintendent.
The information that we have is that they're increasing drain on the Department of Public Works Services. They're modular classrooms that are not intended to last a long time, and they're very much showing their wear and tear. And given that we've now passed the peak of enrollment at the middle school, we'll be seeing a little more enrollment decline. We're quite confident that we will not need them as classroom space, and that they are increasingly being a drain on our maintenance services for the city and for the school department.
No, I appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure we kind of did a real thorough. I mean, we still have time to, I don't have a problem voting for this, but I think this is just putting us on tonight, and it was just discussed recently at the meeting. So I just want to make sure we've done a thorough analysis that, whether we kept one, even at $1 billion, if there was ever that space need for additional space to do other things, and if they're that deplorable that they're a drain on the the city side to maintain them, then that would be obviously a reason to terminate the lease at the end of the lease and remove them. But I just wanted to make sure we went through that. I know the enrollments are dropping. We've been seeing that, but there was another piece to that, and that's why I want to make sure we looked at it. Thank you.
Mr. Leary?
Just to expand upon what Committeeman McHugh was asking, I think part of what I probably should have articulated this better, we did go through those types of questions. We were pointing out exactly, can these modular classrooms be used at other locations? Should that be serviced? And that was simply, it really can't. I think one of the questions that I had raised at the committee meeting was regarding the alternative school at the Malloy. We were looking to see if we didn't have space at the Malloy, could we utilize these particular modular classrooms? And that's just simply, you wouldn't be able to use those particular modulars. If we did go that route, we'd have to go release them, refit them. So we did examine pretty thoroughly regarding where they needed at that particular location, and if they weren't, could we use them someplace else within the system? So that's a motion by myself, and I guess it's looking for a second, Mr. Mayor.
Right. Roll call on the motion to not renew the leases.
Okay. Ms. Doherty?
Yes.
Ms. Fattacante?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy? Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Ms. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McHugh?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Mr. Leary?
The third item on the agenda was the school building project bid schedule update. Mr. Lang updated the subcommittee members on the final bid schedule. We're currently, I guess, and I'll have ask Mr. Lang to speak more in detail on that. We're currently trying to get a date set for the joint school committee city council. I think some of the target dates are looking at the April 27th. I believe the city council, and correct me if I'm incorrect, they need to make a decision on bonding by May 1st, I believe is the correct date. So I guess I'd ask Mr. Lang to expand upon that in more detail.
We thank you. Have not been able to actually schedule the joint subcommittee for the school building programs to review the figures yet. We do know that we will be able to adhere to this current bid schedule, and we will have the final bids in related to the Sapasaris, which was a staggered bid, so that those bids are coming in second. We'll have all those bids in by April 25th. Which is a Wednesday. And we know that the next Tuesday, which is May 1st, the City Council will need to take action on the school building project's proposal. So I'm working with Committee Member McHugh and then City Councilor Donahue, who co-chair that subcommittee, to try to find a date that we could meet prior to that May 1st meeting to be able to review the figures and come up with a proposal for that May 1st City Council meeting.
Just to expand upon, I guess, where we're targeting some dates of next week, which are, I guess, the 2 weeks from now, is the 26th to the 27th, trying to have that joint meeting prior to the date, be posted timely so everybody can have their, really review it and take a look at it. There's a motion made by Jackie Doherty, seconded by Jim Leary, to accept the report as a report of progress.
All right. So moved by Mr. Leary, second by Ms. Doherty. Mr. McHugh?
Yes, just briefly, through you, through the superintendent to Mr. Lang. I thought it was my understanding that we were going to try to keep the two bids 3 weeks apart, so that, and the architects were talking about this when we had one of the meetings with them, is so that it would be, if a group put a bid in on a Maury, didn't actually get it, they'd have enough time to go back and maybe sharpen their pencils and put a very competitive bid on the Sapa salaries. This appears that they're only 1 week apart, and I'm not sure if that's going to be enough time for someone to go back who didn't get the Maury and actually look at their numbers.
Right. Both the architect and the project manager had originally recommended the staggered bid schedule with just that rationale, that we knew the Maury School was the easier of the two schools to build, because it was a straight out build, didn't involve a renovation, and everything was known at the site. So based on bidding experience in another community, it was decided to bid the Maury School first to try to get the most advantageous prices for that, and then build and stagger the Sapasaris, which is the renovation addition built. At the time when we were discussing this, it was a 1 week differential. It had never been 3 weeks. So it had been 1 week just between the two projects. All of the subs, with the exception of one, and all of the general contractors have requested plans and been pre-qualified for both projects. So both, we anticipate, are going to be working on bids for both. And both the architect and the project manager felt that the week in between would be enough time if someone didn't get the first school and still wanted a chance to bid the second school a little more aggressively, that they'd be able to go in and just refine their figures within that week's time to put the bid in. So it had always been just a 1 week bid window, and that was a recommendation of both the architect and the project manager.
Okay, I guess my recollection was, for some reason I come up with 3 weeks, and I don't know why I came up with that, but if 1 week's enough through the, is enough time to do that, hopefully we'll get good prices, I guess. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? The motion's approved. Mr. Leary?
The final item on the agenda, number 4, was program review of the food services operation. Mr. Lang went over in detail a report that we had, the school committee had agreed to get a private vendor to review our current food services program. And this report we have is a draft report because there's some additional questions that the subcommittee had as well as Mr. Lang had, and that currently our food services director, Robert Deegan, was going to be looking at specifically how do we improve our food services program, specifically in the elementary and the middle school level. It was a pretty lengthy report. It was a very lengthy dialogue. Some of the issues I'll expound upon them, and I think other committee members want to touch base as well. First part was the usage by students of the food service program. It's obvious that it was presented to us that's obvious to the subcommittee now that more students use it. There's actually a cost savings or a cost enrichment for the school department. This is something that we illustrated to Mr. Lang, that we needed to touch base with our food service people to ensure that we're maximizing, making sure students are using our food service program. Some of the challenges that the food service program that are undergoing that are new to them are really budgeting their own health insurance, having that as part of their costs, which they never had before. Usually was swallowed up as the school department as a whole. Now we're drilling down to specifically how many folks you are utilizing health insurance, and that's a cost that they're being entitled, they're being told they have to budget, that we all have to budget. The cost savings there really is to help pay for the health care. And other issues, salaries, what have you. The other areas that were strong concern were presentation of the food. Today, Mr. Lang and then committee man John Leahy visited the Riley School as one example. And the presentation, and I think the presentation was an American chop suey today, I guess, was served at the Riley School. And Mr. Leahy was emphatic that I present this today that, the American chop suey did not have tomato sauce with it. So it's something, or it was very highly, you couldn't see the tomato sauce with it. I laughed at it myself out loud when he asked me to say it, but in hindsight, I wouldn't touch the American chop suey if it wasn't presented right. So how are we going to achieve cost enrichment, cost advantage, if you don't want to eat it? So it's kind of almost, I'm kind of being facetious in some extent, but it is something that's essential. I think part of the action plan that we will develop with our food service director is education at the local schools. Really telling, I guess there's a supervisor at each school, really making sure that we're having alternatives to the presentation, having more than one item, not American chop suey and what have you. And I don't mean to get into an hour-long debate regarding our food service program, but it does cost money if we're not utilizing it effectively. And if the presentation isn't successful, who's going to want to have it? So that's an area that once the final report's made before the committee, we're going to ensure that there's an action plan to resolve that issue. There was other discussions regarding education. I think that the report made a recommendation that we should hire additional administrators to monitor our food service program. I, for one, simply, we're not going to hire any more people to ensure our food service program is successful. We have the people in place right now. We need to ensure that they're successful. I think this report will be an educational part for them, that they probably didn't realize how important presentation is to cost savings. So if I sit here going into a monologue regarding cost savings and presentation, it's really that important. A motion was made by Jackie Doherty and seconded by myself to accept the reporter's report of progress, approved 3-0.
So moved by Mr. Leahy, second by Ms. Doherty. Ms. Doherty?
Yes, Your Honor, actually I have one question and then I have a comment. My question is, through you to Mr. Lang, maybe he has this answer. What is the district subsidy right now for our food service program? What is it costing us?
In the ballpark of about $250,000 a year.
Okay. Because one of the things that stuck out for me in reading this report was not only did this consultant feel that our food service program could pay for itself, but there's $1 to $2 million in federal subsidies, students who receive free or reduced lunch, that we would come into our system if those students were in fact choosing to buy our lunch. So clearly the quality of the food, the choices, is something we need to look at. The other thing that really jumped out at me is the amount of waste that he viewed over the period of time that he visited our schools. And, they made huge amounts of food and then were throwing it out. And, I understand it's a much larger scale than when I'm budgeting how much food I prepare for my family or if I have guests. But I would think there's a certain repetitiveness that you get down to a system where you're not throwing away trays and trays of food. I look forward to getting more information and really getting the action plan from our food services people of how they want to implement some of these changes. One of the things, another area that struck me was that our food service people are not really cooking the food so much as opening cans and taking stuff out of the freezer and throwing it in the oven. And that if we really look at doing more fresh food, more choices, some of the stuff that we're doing at the high school, like at the middle school, elementary, instead of just having one entree choice, that's it, have a sandwich choice in the hot entree, or things like that could really make our program more appealing to our youngsters and more nutritional. And so I just wanted to add those comments because I think that as we go forward with this, I'm encouraged because I think there are some ways that we can see right away that we can improve the efficiency of the program and the quality of the food that we provide to our kids, and that it will generate a savings for us. So I thought this was a good start. Thank you.
Mr. Leary?
I just want to close on this report by saying we're not really looking to pick on a particular, our food service people. They work very hard. I think what this report is really saying how we can be better at work hardening. I think that some of these areas are very simple. Just some changes that they make will be much more successful. I think they work hard. I don't mean to pick on O'Reilly School, but it is something that we need to focus on. I know a lot of people don't think of it as important, but it's clearly, it was clearly demonstrated that this is dollars and cents. And I know our folks, as they're aligned today with the current administrators, will be successful once we highlight and educate them on what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Any opposed? The motion's approved. Next are reports of the superintendent. We already dealt with the UTEC report. The second item, Madam Superintendent, is the Lowell High School accreditation update.
Yes, committee members, I know that the New England Association of Secondary Schools and Colleges accreditation process is ongoing. It's not just once every 10 years. So you have a copy of the 2-year report from NEASC prepared in response to the report prepared by high school staff this past late fall. So I'm not sure whether the committee wants to refer that to the Lowell High School Subcommittee or just accept it as a report of progress.
Mr. Leary?
Make a motion to refer to the Lowell High School Subcommittee.
Second by Mr. McHugh. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter is referred to the Lowell High School Subcommittee. The next item is adult ed and Lowell High graduation dates.
Yes, it is customary at this time of year to confirm the date of the graduation for Lowell High School for the class of 2000, in this case 2007. That's Wednesday, June 6th at 6 p.m. The location is still to be determined. Committee members, I believe, know that the Songus Arena is not available for any graduations this graduation season, and so many of the area high schools are working to identify alternatives. The headmaster is working with various city agencies and city staff to determine the best available alternative. As soon as we're able to get that information, as soon as he's able to make a determination, we'll get that information to you and make that public. The adult education graduation is scheduled for Friday, June 8th at 7 p.m. That will be in the Cyrus Irish Auditorium at Lowell High School. And then, assuming that the bad weather of today and it does not continue, and we don't have to call school off between now and that time, the last day of school is scheduled for Tuesday, June 12th.
Move approval, Your Honor.
Motion to approve by Ms. Fattacante, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Dates are approved. Lowell Teacher Academy.
Yes, the Lowell Teacher Academy was recently featured at a national conference in Boston, and I included the presentation that was made at that time.
Move approval as report.
Motion to approve the report by Ms. Fattacante, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report is approved. Budget calendar.
Yes, Assistant Superintendent Lang has been working with the City Manager's Office to develop a budget calendar for the school department that would be in sync with the City Manager's schedule for budget presentation. So there are a couple of alternatives available, a couple of plans available. What we're proposing is that on Wednesday, May 2nd, which is a regular school committee meeting, that we would present my recommended fiscal year 2008 budget and present that at a regular school committee meeting. We could then set aside for budget hearings and budget discussions by the committee the following Monday, May 7th, Wednesday, May 9th, and Monday, May 14th, if 3 hearings are needed, and the committee would be in a position to adopt a budget on Wednesday, May 16th, which would be its next regularly scheduled committee meeting. So the committee at that point would vote to approve a 2008 budget for the Lowell Public Schools and refer the bottom line amount to the city manager for inclusion in the City of Lowell 2008 budget. And then there's information in this report about the city manager's plans to present a budget for school committee consideration in the middle of May. There have been times when the committee has sought to have budget workshops on Saturdays, and we've identified those Saturdays that fall between that if the committee felt that you wanted to hold Saturday budget workshops instead of or in addition to the evenings of budget hearings. So we look to the school committee for advice.
We're having a small conference here, Your Honor. One of the budget hearings, what date was that, Mr. Leary, would not work for us? May 9th is not going to work for us, Your Honor. So is it possible to do May 12th? Would that be acceptable? Yes. And still do the 7th, the 12th, and the 14th. Would that be acceptable to everybody? So could we change that date, Your Honor? It would no longer be the 9th, but it would be the 12th of May.
6 a.m.?
Okay. Yeah, you funny. 10.
10 in the morning?
10 is good.
And would that be a hearing or the budget discussion?
Budget discussion.
Not a hearing?
Right.
Okay.
But would it still be here, or would it be at Central?
Usually it's here.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess, I don't know necessarily the difference between a hearing and a discussion, but if we're going to need more than these dates for hearing, I suppose we should schedule them all as hearings, and if the hearing's concluded, at least that way they'll be advertised. If the hearing's concluded and it's just debate, we can continue with just the debate. But
Okay.
that would be my suggestion, that they at least be advertised as hearings, and if they turn out not to be necessary, they're not necessary.
Okay.
So that's a motion to amend the schedule by changing May 9th to May 12th. Do we have a time agreeable?
10 o'clock, Your Honor.
10 a.m. And that's motion is made by Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The amendment is approved. And then motion to adopt the schedule as amended
Motion
by
to adopt, Your Honor.
Ms. Fattacante, seconded by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The schedule is approved. Okay, next is the May 16th retirement.
Yes, the same evening that the committee will be voting its bottom line on a budget to refer to the city council. Before that meeting will be the annual school committee's reception for Lowell School Department retirees. So that the reception will be held from 6 to 7 in the mayor's reception room for school committee members, retirees, and their families and friends.
Okay. Motion to accept the report by Ms. Faticante, second by Ms. Martin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report is accepted. Family Resource Night.
Yes, the Family Resource Night was developed by our Parent Information Center in collaboration with the Citywide Parent Council and the Gear Up program. Was held this past evening of March 28th. Several hundred parents and families came to that event. Particular thanks go to staff from the Gear Up, Richard Abar and Leonore Daly. The Gear Up helped sponsored an internet safety presentation, which was very eye-opening for a lot of the parents to learn firsthand through a demonstration of the kinds of things that to watch for in their youngsters' use of the internet. Lowell School Resource Officers, Timothy Golden, Jose Rivera, Jose Santiago, and Coordinator Jack Dolan did a presentation on dealing with bullying, another issue that parents have asked us to help provide for them some information about the role they can play in eliminating bullying. And thanks go to a number of community partners, Hannaford, Market Basket, Costco, Enterprise Bank, Lowell 5, among others, for their contributions for refreshments. It was a very, I think, informative evening, and one that drew a large number of families to the high school for this event. I want to thank the Parent Information Center, Dr. Palaccia and her staff who played, and the parent liaisons from the schools who played the major role in organizing this.
Thank you. Motion to accept the report by Ms. Martin, second by Mr. McHugh. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The report is accepted. Next item is the 2007-2008 meeting schedule. Madam Superintendent.
This is for informational purposes. This is the draft schedule for next year's school committee meetings. Before I bring it for an actual vote, I wanted to see if there were any committee concerns that I should take into account in developing it.
Mr. Leary.
Just real quick, I haven't actually looked at the dates yet, and I apologize. I just want to make sure they don't coincide with the February or April vacation.
There is one, and that's the February 20th date on here that would fall during February vacation.
Can we look to change that date so if people are going on vacation or what have you, we could, I know a lot of folks want to watch the school
Move it a
committee meetings.
week
They're on
back.
vacation. See if we can look for a different date. I don't know if we can wait till the next meeting to do this, but I think that's something
absolutely.
we should prepare that because these things are known in advance. Thank you.
I'll bring it back with a modified schedule for action.
Yeah.
Motion to table it to the next meeting. Thank you.
By Ms. Faticante, second by Mr. Leary. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The matter's tabled till the next meeting. Next item is the list of eligible teachers. Madam Superintendent.
Yes, you have both a list of eligible teachers who are eligible to be hired in the Lowell schools for next year, as well as the personnel report identifying the members of our staff who will be retiring or who have resigned, or in this case, no new hires at this particular point. But again, 7 retirements of teachers, all of whom have committed more than 30 years of their professional lives to the young people of Lowell.
Motion to accept the
approve, Your
report
Honor, and may a letter be sent?
by Ms. Faticante, second by Ms. Doherty. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that is on the eligible teachers and the personnel report.
Yes.
Okay. Both of those are okay. Okay, that, I believe, concludes the superintendent's reports. Under new business, there's one item concerning the April 18th and June 6th school committee meetings to determine whether or not to hold those dates.
Your
Ms.
Honor,
Faticante?
I would suggest that the only meeting that we cancel is the June 6th meeting, because that does fall on the high school graduation evening.
Okay. So that a motion by Ms. Faticante?
That we cancel only June 6th.
Okay. Second by Ms. Martin. Discussion on this? Okay. All those in, roll call on the motion, please.
Ms. Doherty.
Yes.
Ms. Faticante.
Yes.
Mr. Leahy. Mr. Leary.
Yes.
Miss Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McHugh?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Okay. Under convention conference requests, there are 7 items.
That second one scares the heck out of me. Scares the heck out of me. I think we have to actually take some out of order. So I make a motion to go to approve 3 to 7.
Approve 3 and 7?
No,
3 through
3
7.
to 7.
2
So
through
3,
7.
4, 5, 6, and 7. Motion to approve 3 to 7.
3, 2, 7.
Yes.
Am I got that right?
Yes.
3, 2, and 7.
No.
Okay.
No.
3
No.
through 7. 3,
3
4,
through
5,
7.
6, and 7.
3
I'm
through
sorry,
7.
3
Okay.
through 7.
3 through 7.
So
Okay.
moved by Ms. Fedicante, second by Mr. Leary. Roll call, please.
Miss Doherty?
Yes.
Miss Fattacante?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy? Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Miss Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McHugh?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
6 yeas, 1 absent, approved.
Your Honor, a motion to approve item number 1.
Which item, I'm sorry?
Item number 1.
Motion to approve item 1 by Ms. Fedicante, second by Ms. Doherty. Roll call.
Conference 1, okay. Miss Doherty?
Yes.
Miss Fattacante?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy? Mr. Leary?
Yes.
Miss Martin?
Present.
Present. Mr. McHugh?
Yes.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
5 yeas, 1 absent, 1 present, approved.
And that is, would necessity allow votes to take place in necessity on item 2?
Well. First, I'm not sure that there's anybody precluded from voting on any of these.
Motion to approve item number 2, Your Honor.
All right. Motion to approve item number 2 by Ms. Fedicante, second by Ms. Martin. Roll call.
Miss Doherty?
Yes.
Miss Fattacante?
Yes.
Mr. Leahy? Mr. Leary?
Present.
Present. Miss Martin?
Yes.
Mr. McHugh?
Present.
Mayor Martin?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4 yeas, 1 absent, 2 present.
Okay.
It's approved.
That's approved. Okay, I believe that concludes the agenda. Anyone have any further items? Okay, motion to adjourn by Mr. Leary, second by Mr. McHugh. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? The meeting stands adjourned.
Larry, McHugh. 9 o'clock.